Hello, everyone, and welcome to another VanillaSoft webinar. Today, we're going to talk about 7 steps for creating successful insurance ads on Facebook. As you can see, if you were following last time, I was in our fabulous studio looking great. Now I'm back home. COVID has gotten a little bit worse again, so we're taking a little bit more care in how we move around and operate. I hope you're doing well in all of this. I know it's getting a bit crazy out there in some spots, so I hope you're well. And I really am glad you're joining us today, because this is, to me, a very important webinar, and one I'm happy to deliver, and I'll tell you why. A lot of times when I'm researching things, trying to learn something new, one of the reasons I sign up for webinars, I'm sure a lot of the reasons you've been signing up to our webinars to learn more about how to be more successful as an insurance agent, is that you want to get some tips. You want to know how to do something. How do I do it better, faster, smarter, and get more money and close more opportunities? And that can be a challenge sometimes when you go to these webinars and you say, here's some great high-level stuff, sometimes a little bit strategic, some tactical plans, and it's maybe 4 or 5 big steps. But each one of those steps has so many little small steps inside it, so many components to it, that you don't really know what to do. So it's great. I've had plenty of webinars so far already. We've talked about using Facebook ads to generate more leads. So you go to Facebook, and then what, right? You're looking at a Facebook page and you can update your status, but how do I then create an ad, and how do I make sure it's successful, and where do I go from there? And so for me, I really wanted to make sure that we brought to you some really the small steps, the real tactical plan to make sure that you know how to then build a Facebook presence that can help generate more leads for you. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take you through that and show you the details, show you behind the scenes, behind the curtain in Facebook and in building Facebook ads, so that you can be more effective in your agency, or as an agency of one, whatever you are, or as just as an insurance agent at an agency, and you want to just increase your profile and get yourself more leads. This will be able to help you. I really, really do believe that. So welcome. I'm glad you're here. Before we begin, and before I introduce my expert guest, let's just go through a few little house cleaning items here about what you can expect. So, of course, we are recording this. So if you have to drop out, no problem, or you miss some things, or you don't want to take notes, it'll be available to you, and we'll send it to you as a recording so you can go back through it at any time. And share it with your friends and colleagues too if you want. You are in listen-only mode, so you can't ask questions, at least not in an audible way. You can use the chat window, and you can chat your questions to us if you want. Type them out there. You can also send them via Twitter if you want. At VanillaSoft is our Twitter account, so you can tweet them there as well. So let's move right on into it. There's lots to cover today. So I want to introduce our guest today. His name is Cedric Potvin, and he is also actually in Ottawa. He is an entrepreneur. He's founded his own company because he's got a passion for digital marketing and managing Facebook ads. That's where he loves to operate. And so he's a co-founder of Vertex Marketing, and he's focused on getting his clients what they need, and that is basically steps closer to their overall goal, which is growing their business. And as a real tech guy, he's obsessed with finding all of the best ways and helping his clients make the right decisions. He's also told me he's really big on coffee, communication, and something called Kaizen, which means continuous improvement. So that's terrific. And on top of all of that, he hosts his own podcast called SaaS Growth, the SaaS Growth Podcast. So please, let's welcome Cedric Potvin to the VanillaSoft webinar. Hi, Cedric.
Hey, how's it going? Again, thanks for having me on the show.
Sure. I'm glad you're here. And you did a blog post for our partner company, I guess not our partner company, the company that VanillaSoft just purchased, AutoClose, and it was terrific. And I thought we need to bring all that information to all the insurance agents that are using VanillaSoft or are looking at using VanillaSoft. So really happy to have you here and working with us again.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, how to generate leads with Facebook ads, right? That's exactly what we're going to cover today. And, it's going to be 2-part of really this, webinar. The first one is a little bit of overview of Facebook advertising for anyone that is not too familiar with it. I'm going to give you, overview of how to. And the cool thing is we're going to be talking about, and I'm going to be showing you like a live demo of actually how to go about doing it. So then when you're on your own, you can just do it yourself.
Awesome, terrific. So let's just again quickly go over the 7 steps, if you will, that we're going to look at. So we'll just put that up there for us as you follow along. So the first thing again is, ad manager or boosting. I don't know what that means yet. Again, I'm kind of like you folks out there. I'm pretty novice at this, so I'm interested in knowing what that means, why the difference between using the ad manager or boosting. So we'll go through that. We'll go through targeting your buyer, which obviously is very important, knowing who's buying and who you want to direct your ads to so they're effective. We'll go through some different Facebook terminology as well, so you know what people are talking about if you're going out there and reading more about it, and you know how to navigate, so you know what those words mean. Choosing your goal, then building your audience. How do you do that? So you, again, generate and pull in more leads. Then creating quality ads that actually work and will actually attract people in so that you can get their information and they want to hear from you. Then, of course, measuring and analyzing, your effectiveness so that you can build even more effective campaigns as you go forward. And then we'll wrap up with some final thoughts. So let's dive right into it. And the first one is really, why use Facebook for advertising? So what's so great about Facebook? And Cedric, can you help enlighten us there on why Facebook is such a passion for you?
Yeah, of course. That's a big question. And honestly, we get that often. So whenever we deal with a new client, that's always the first thing we look at. Well, first of all, would they be, successful on Facebook? And I feel like basically on Facebook, there are billion of users. So the chances that your ideal customer, your buyer persona is on Facebook is like really, really high. And that's honestly that's the biggest reason why most advertisers and most businesses, when they advertise properly on Facebook, they'll just get results because their personas are on Facebook, right? Compared to any sort of other, social media platform out there. And if we compare something like Facebook to Google, the cost per lead on Google is just incredibly high, especially in the insurance industry. I've seen some crazy numbers, just again, compared to Facebook ads. So not that it's just for sure that your ideal customer is on Facebook. You're also going to be paying less per the lead. So that's why Facebook ad is really the place to be to this age.
Okay, perfect. So thanks for that. So let's just dive right in then. Let's get to that very first step. Tell us a little bit then more about, how I can then start building my campaign and go into that, start it off. And we started with that again. What is ad manager? What is boosting? So please take us through that.
Yeah, of course. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen here. So perfect. So 7 steps to creating successful ad campaigns for insurance companies on Facebook. I'm going to go through the next slide. There you go. So a little bit about me. Again, you did a great job at introducing me, but my name is Cedric Potvin. I do speak French. I do speak English. So you might pick up the little French accent there. But I'm the co-founder of Vertex Marketing Agency, and we're actually an agency that solely specializes in social media marketing. That includes the organic side of things. So that's just posting on Instagram and Facebook. So really, mastering your organic without going into paid. And then one thing I really love is paid advertising. So that's the other thing that we do here in the agency. The first one, we talked a little bit about the buyer persona. I even said that Facebook is an awesome place to target your buyer persona. Well, it is, but the first step you need to do when even like starting any sort of marketing initiative, even if you actually don't even want to do Facebook advertising, you want to do Google or LinkedIn, whatever it is, you need to figure out your buyer persona. Honestly, it's really a must. So there's really questions you need to ask yourself about the people who buy from you. And these questions will help you when you're really creating your ad set in your campaign, in your Facebook campaign. If you're not too sure what an ad set is, don't worry. I'll actually be covering that in this webinar. When I prepared the slides and everything for the webinar, I kept in mind that some people potentially have never advertised on Facebook, and then some other obviously have potentially some experience with Facebook. So I kept all that in mind. So I'm going to be covering really everything. And then really, I also have a worksheet that you can go ahead and download. It's completely free. And it's just, again, the buyer persona, that's probably something that would take about 30 to 45 minutes, usually when we do it with our client, just to fill it up. So if you want to just download it, all the questions are going to be there. So you can just really take a Saturday or Sunday or sit down with your team and just really go over this worksheet with them. And it's going to give you some really great insights on who your buyer persona is. Once you've done this exercise, you're probably going to come up with something like that. So that's going to be your buyer persona 1.0. And you might figure out, the majority of my clients are between the age of 25 to 37. I don't know, for some reason, the majority of them are males. They have a degree in physiotherapy, and they're located in California. Who knows, right? And then their job, they're physiotherapists. They're making between 80K to 104K a year. Potentially, they're single or married. And then you can even dig into like their hobbies. What do they like to do? Do they like to spend time on social media? Do they play sports? Do they play soccer? What do they do on their day-to-day life? And the reason you want to know all these sort of things is because, again, when you're creating your audience in Ads Manager, you want to know all these different things because you can target specific interests, you can target specific like behavior. You can really, if you can think it, you can probably target it with Facebook ads. So the second point is boosting a post versus using Ads Manager. Now, for anyone that is, I guess, newer to Facebook ads or they're posting here and there, we see a lot of companies using the boosting a post feature from Facebook, which is great if you only want to reach more people. So let's say you have a post and you want some more likes, some more impressions on your post, and that's really your goal. Boosting a post is fine. But if your goal is, again, to get leads, and that's what this webinar is all about, or to get conversions and sales, you will need to use something like Ads Manager. And the reason for that is that Ads Manager has their own AI system, and basically they record each user session. So let's say you go on Facebook and you go on Facebook every night at, let's say, 9 p.m. because you like to spend, let's say, 30 minutes on Facebook before you go to bed. Well, Facebook records that, and it knows that, like, let's say John Smith at 9 p.m. goes on Facebook and just scrolls down the feed. And that's when he potentially engages, clicks on ads. Facebook knows that. So when you're using Ad Manager, when you're setting up a campaign, Facebook will know that a specific user will be more likely to convert, let's say, at 9 p.m. Obviously, now we're just talking about one user, but they do that at scale. This is why using Ads Manager versus using a post is like crazy. And I'll even show you the difference right here.
So just
boosting
real quick,
a post.
Go ahead. Is boosting then? Boosting assumes more like it's a bit of the I want to be popular, right? Just to get my brand out there, for instance, or just get my name out there. Versus the Ad Manager is helping you then target that persona. Is that correct?
Yeah. It is correct, but honestly, even if you want, I guess you can say brand awareness, you're still better off using Ads Manager. Really, the boosting a post feature is more for anyone that doesn't really have the technical skills or doesn't want to be spending a lot of time creating their ads. At the end of the day, like, Facebook is a business and they wanted to make the process of creating an ad as easy as possible. That's why basically they came out with the boosted a post feature. But if we compare the boost post feature versus the Ads Manager, we can see that you can target specific people based on their location, their age, their gender, and obviously their interest. But you can't target specific people based off their the language they speak, the behavior. So are they married? Do they have kids? How much money do they make? So you can't go that deep into targeting with the boosted a post feature. You can't choose what sort of bid type you want to have, control the frequency. The frequency is how often someone will see your ad. Usually you want to keep a frequency at about 1 or 1.5, just meaning that you don't want someone to keep seeing the same ad every day and even every week. It kind of gets repetitive and then people are just annoyed with your brand. But with Ads Manager, you can really like customize that and you say, okay, well, for this specific ad, I want to show this ad to, let's say, only once a week to this specific audience. And then you can have multiple ads and then, it's going to get rotated. But again, you can do all these sort of things in the Ads Manager. You can create custom audiences, and that's something I'm going to talk a little bit later. So you can upload an email list. So let's say you have a list in your CRM or whatever tool you use about all your different clients. You can literally export that as a CSV and then upload it. You can even create lookalike audience. So you can tell Facebook, hey, Facebook, these are all my current customers. Find me a list of other potential like Facebook users that match exactly what this specific list of my current customers are. So it's the same interest, potentially same gender, same behavior. So you can, it's really crazy. You can do all that.
Nice shortcut to basically creating your persona to some degree. You just, here's who I have. I would like more of these. Find them for me.
Exactly. And we're actually going to probably come up with an article soon about that because we've ran multiple tests and we've tested the lookalike audience once you have the data, if you can grab a list of all your current clients and then upload that into the, in your audience and create a lookalike audience of this, of your client list, the results you get from, from that campaign will be awesome. Like, it's going to be incredible. Like, we've tested that versus any other sort of audiences. And you get just a way cheaper cost per result, whether the result that you want is a conversion or a lead. It's honestly really awesome. Another thing that I touched on a little bit is the marketing objectives. So in Ads Manager, you can say, okay, well, my goal is awareness. My goal is conversion. My goal is to get just traffic to my website. And again, Facebook is going to optimize the campaign for that goal.
Nice. Wow.
Now, Facebook ad terminology. So I talked about campaign. I've talked about ad set. I've talked about ad. And for anyone that's never been into the Ads Manager, I honestly, I get it. I was there at some point. It's really confusing. Like, there's just so much things, and like, what is an ad set? What is an ad? Like, what do you put in an ad set? Just so many different questions. So let's cover that right now. So the campaign, like I said, is the goal. And you can only have one goal per campaign. So it could be brand awareness. It could be clicks to your website. It could be conversions, right? Only one goal. And that's also usually where you'll set your budget. So let's say you want to be spending $15 a day, $20 a day, and then you can increase your budget from there. Now the ad set, if we look right under here, the ad set is exactly where you're going to set the audience. So you can, again, target people based off their interests, behaviors, but it's also where you can say, okay, Facebook, only show this ad on a specific placement. A placement could be the Facebook newsfeed, Instagram newsfeed, right? Facebook owns Instagram. It could be stories. It could be, the right sidebar. It could be the Facebook marketplace. So you control the placement all in the ad set. Now, under the ad set, you have the ad. And that's where you'll set your image, your text, or your video, and your different headlines. And obviously the URL going to your landing page or your website. So that's all done in the ad level. Okay, so I wanted to add that there just because it's something that you just have to get right the first time. When we do audits for a client's account and they've been running ads for a little while, sometimes we see that they didn't set either the time zone. The time zone is probably the most frequent one that we see. It's just not set properly. So once you create your first ad account, you can actually just go here. So it's facebook.com/ads manager, and make sure when you create your ad account, if you haven't already, set the right time zone and set the right currency. Okay, sometimes you want to just go through this really quick, and you're just going to click a bunch of random buttons. Make sure you have your own time zone and it's set in the ad account, because what happens after that is if you want to change it, the only way you can do so is if you create a new account. And an ad account is a little bit like a brain. And the more you spend with Facebook ads, the more it learns about your specific business and your unique situation and how to get you results. So if ever you go about, oh no, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's doing some machine learning in there. So it's learning you. So the last thing you want to do is have to lose all that work basically you've put into there, all the learning it's done on how to target your audience. So make sure these two little things are set at the beginning, time zone and currency. It's a bit strange though. I would figure that to Facebook, is there a certain default in there? Does it default to Eastern time or Central Mean Time or something like that? Why doesn't it know your time zone? Do you have any idea why you have to set that, or is it just you're double checking?
Yeah, well, honestly, the time zone could be for something like me. Like, for example, I'm Eastern Standard Time, but I might have a client in Australia. So if I have a client in Australia, well, I need to advertise, me as the advertiser, I need to advertise in their time zone and not EST, right? So that's the main reason why you need to actually go in and manually pick the right time zone.
So it's the time zone for your target audience.
Exactly for where you're going to be advertising. So that's really important. Another thing I want to talk about, it's detailed targeting. So how does Facebook target people? Facebook really, they target people based on a lot of different things. One of them is likes. So if they've liked a specific page, like a football page or anything like that, Facebook collects that. That's when it kind of gets a little bit freaky. But just keep in mind that now you as the advertisers, you are now Facebook's clients. So Facebook is kind of looking out for you now because you're actually one of their client, because you're paying them money, right? So you're the client now. So they care about you now and they want you to succeed with Facebook ads. But they track things like the link you share, the public and the personal information, and also the content that you interact with. I don't know if you noticed that, but if you, especially with Instagram, it's like that. If you go and you like a bunch of pictures of dogs, when you go to the search feed, you're going to see a bunch of pictures of dogs. So it recognizes what an image is. And then from there, it understands, like their AI understands what the content is all about. And it can also analyze like sentiment. So it can see exactly how you're feeling when you're posting, how you're currently feeling. Are you happy? Are you sad? So it can do all these sort of things. And then you as an advertiser, it's just amazing for you.
Wow. Powerful. That's really powerful.
Honestly, it is. It definitely is. It is only getting more and more powerful because it's building a more and more accurate like persona of, each user. And one thing that we can do is, again, with detailed targeting, I just wanted to come up with a quick example for anyone on the webinar here. Obviously, what I'm talking about, the structure, that's for any sort of business. We're tailoring this webinar more for anyone in the insurance industry. But a lot of these principles apply for like almost any industry. But for an insurance company, let's say, you're in California and you're running Facebook ad, and your goal is to send traffic to a booking page for, let's say, a free life insurance quote. Okay. Well, one of your buyer persona is potentially a parent. And again, that's when it's really important to, get your worksheet, create your buyer persona. That's really important. If you don't know who you're targeting, it's like going into Ads Manager blindfolded. So potentially, let's say you did your research, you know who your buyer persona is. It's a parent, let's say, and they have a children between the age of 1 to 18 years old. And this parent, obviously, that's fair to assume that most parents love their child, but they love their child and they're thinking about something. If something happens, they don't know how they would be able to take care of their child. So let's say, sadly, they pass away, they wouldn't have any money, right? So that's their buyer persona. So that's the information you'd be potentially putting into Facebook's. And I'm going to show you that in a live demo, but so we have it here. So location, potentially you want to do something like, okay, well, pick a school in your area. Well, by the way, when you're starting to advertise, especially if it's your first time, I would strongly recommend you start local, just because there's a huge local factor when it comes to actually having a conversation with, your prospects and your leads. They love the fact that you're going to be local. That's just a huge factor. And you'll see it's definitely going to increase your conversion rate versus, let's say you're located in California and you're advertising in Australia. If you can, also the laws and the regulation might be different. So you might even not be able to do, but start local. And then you can start and set the postal code of potentially a school nearby you and say, okay, well, target anyone that is between like a 30-mile radius from that school. And then age between 25 to 50. And then that's when we get into the fun stuff, into behaviors. You can say, okay, only show this ad to a parent that has a kid between the age of 3 to 5, or 6 to 8. And yeah, you see the rest of the information. But again, you can go in these sort of behaviors. And if ever you're thinking like, okay, well, I don't know a lot of people that say on their Facebook page that they have kids. Like, how would Facebook know about that? That is a valid point. But Facebook, whenever you post a picture and you say, I don't know, big congrats on, I don't know, it's my daughter's birthday, and they're posting a picture because it's on Facebook, because it's their daughter's birthday. Even if it's not in your bio and your information, again, Facebook can understand what you're saying. The text can understand the picture, and then that gets pushed into the database, and then it updates that persona of, let's say, John Smith. So now
every time you post on there, every time you post, you're basically updating your profile, essentially.
Exactly. That's really a great explanation. Exactly. So campaign measurement and analysis, that's something I'm not going to talk too much about because that's something that would take potentially hours and even, I don't know, a whole week talking about. But there's two things you definitely want to have installed on your website in order to track conversions and your results and to be able to make data-driven decision. And that's the key thing here. We're all about making data-driven decision and not going about how you're feeling about an ad. Like, yes, that matters, but at the end of the day, data is what you're looking for. And if the data says that you should be pausing this ad, well, you should be pausing this ad. And you're going to be able to look at the data by using tools like Google Tag Manager and Facebook Pixel. They're both fully free. Google Tag Manager is a Google product. And basically what Google Tag Manager is, it's a centralized place to keep all your tracking pixels. So when you sign up for an ad account, right, an ads manager, they're going to give you a Facebook pixel. And that's a code you can install on your website or your landing page so that whenever a user goes on there, Facebook can recognize that. Because your website and Facebook, they're two different things. And when a user leaves Facebook, they need something, like Facebook needs something on there to like understand what's happening on your website. So the Facebook pixel is what they use, and you store that into your Google Tag Manager. The reason why you want to use Google Tag Manager is because later on in your advertising journey, or even if you deal with an agency, you're going to need Google Tag Manager to do some more advanced things like tracking conversions. There's so many things you can do with Google Tag Manager. But yeah, I'm going to let you explore that on your own. There's a ton of resource on it. If not, like, you can always just message me on LinkedIn, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Honestly, like, never hesitate to send me an email or a message on LinkedIn.
Okay, so at the very least, right now, as you're getting started, that's part of the foundation you need to put in there, even if you don't quite know how it works yet.
Yeah, honestly, if you are okay with YouTube, you can just YouTube that. There's a lot of different tutorial. For each business, it's going to be a little bit different because potentially what you want to track is anyone that lands on this specific URL. So, and by the way, It's like, you don't need any coding skills. No coding skills. It's literally, if you're able to copy paste and follow instructions, like, you're gonna be able to set up the tag management system. So you don't need to know coding or anything like that. Just want to reassure you, but you want to be using it so that if a user lands on, let's say, the meeting book page, that means it's a conversion. So when the user lands on that, it shoots that information back to Facebook. So then when you're looking at your data in Facebook, it sees one conversion. But not just that, as soon as you get your first few conversions, Facebook understands what kind of user converts. So then they optimize your campaign and your ads to show your ad to users that are, more like the ones that convert. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes plenty of sense. It's just constantly refining and refining your target audience.
Exactly. And the more you spend, the more you collect data, honestly, the better results you're going to get. So now we're going to talk about a winning ad strategy. And that's really important. We've tested a bunch of different structure in terms of running ads. So I'm actually going to just back out from here. I'm going to go back to this one here because I feel it's going to, again, I'm really visual, so I feel like it might be better for visual persons. But in terms of the Facebook ad strategy and the structure of your campaign, again, we talked about one campaign, that's your goal. Ad set is where you set your audience. Now, a lot of advertisers, and that's what I used to do when I first started advertising, is you create one ad set with like all your interests. So potentially football, soccer, I don't know, motherhood, fatherhood, whatever it is, right? So you have a list of all your interests. And then you can also say, okay, well, I want to target all placements. And then from there, after they have that ad set, they'll create that ad. Well, let's say that performs really, really, really well. What are you going to do from there? How do you know which interest actually generated the results, or which placement actually generated results? For placement, you can use something called like the breakdown feature, so that's fine. But what about interest? Like, you targeted, let's say, 7 or 10 different interests. How do you know which one actually, gave you those results? How do you know where your buyer persona is actually hanging out? So, right. And again, let's say it actually. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just I'm agreeing with you. Okay. I'm seeing the problem there. Yeah. If you've got too much in ad set, then you don't get really any good data.
You don't get any good data. And let's say you were not actually getting results. Well, you don't know which one is causing that. So that's why what we always do is we use a campaign budget optimization. And then again, I'm going to be covering that and how to actually unlock that. And then you go here and then you create 3 different ad sets. So in the ad set, let's say in total, we decided to target 6 different interests. We're going to be targeting 2 here, 2 other ones here, and then another 2 ones here, a total of 6, right? So then we can see which ad set, like if ever one performs best, we know that it's because of these interests. If the other one doesn't, we know why. And then under ad, we're going to create 2 ads. Now we're going to create one ad here and another different ad here. But these ads here are going to be the same one as here. Because again, if something doesn't work with the audience, we want to know that it's the audience. Like if all ads are different, it could have potentially just been the ad that didn't go well with that audience, right? So we want to be testing the same ads on all different ad sets, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. Yep.
And then what you do is when you see one that is performing, perfect. Potentially pause the other one. You create another one that looks like the one that is performing, and then again, A/B split test, and that's a game here. Great. So that's what it is in terms of the PowerPoint, the slide, what I have ready for the presentation. So now what we're going to do is we're going to switch and get into the live demo.
Oh, awesome.
So
see it in action.
You can still see the screen. Perfect. Yep. Okay. So here we have Ads Manager. Again, if you're not sure how to get there, you can just navigate to facebook.com/ads manager. And now here I'm in my demo account. So there's nothing here. Basically, it's really easy. You're just going to click on create. Now, once you're here, that's when we talked about goals. So you can see the amount of goals that are available to you here. So you can say, okay, well, I want a brand awareness campaign, a reach, traffic, and it just goes on. Now, the majority of the time, you're going to click conversions. Let's say you're part of a brokerage or your firm and you don't have a website, because that's possible. We've had encountered that in the past. I still recommend you to go ahead on GoDaddy, buy a domain. It's like $5 for the first year. It's fairly cheap. And then you can just install the tracking pixel on your website. If ever, for some reason, I don't know, sometimes in bigger companies, there's a lot of different regulations and just things that you're not allowed to have a website. Again, I've seen that in the past. If that's the case in your organization, you can create a lead generation campaign. I'm not going to cover that one, but a lead generation campaign, what it is instead of building your website on your own domain, it's more of like a landing page with a form on Facebook's platform. So the lead never leaves Facebook. So like the conversion, everything is still being tracked by Facebook. So you can still get accurate data there. So again, if for any reason you can't create your website, you don't have one, you don't have the resources or anything like that, you can still pick that option. And again, we've seen some really great results with the lead generation option. So
that's a great option for people that are, real quick, if there's you're an agent inside an agency, and again, you're just being a little bit more aggressive, not relying on leads coming to you from the agency. That's a great way. Again, you don't have to set up your own website or feel like you're competing with the boss or the agency website to create your own spot to collect leads. I think that's beautiful. I think it's a great trick.
Yeah, and one thing we've also split tested, just so you know, is we've tried, okay, well, what if we try a lead generation campaign versus conversion campaign? Which one performs best? And if you sell or, whether a service or product that is it's easy to understand and explain, we found that lead generation, you get better results and you get a cheaper cost per lead. And the reason for that is we knew that from the beginning, but usually in lead generation, because you're not leaving Facebook platform, Facebook loves that because their traffic, their users are not leaving the platform. So they actually lower your cost per result on the lead generation platform because again, you tell the user to stay on the platform. So they love that. So that's why they'll give you a cheaper cost per result. But for anyone in the insurance industry, it's a little bit more sometimes complicated. And that's why sending them to a website where they can take a look at your About Us page or, have more information about what you guys do and what your firm or organization is all about. The conversion campaign would be better for that. So, there's good use case for both of these goals. So we're just going to name the campaign. We're going to name that test. We're going to name that ad 1, and we're going to 1, 2. One thing I like doing, and I'll probably change it later, is in the ad set, I'll just go ahead and name it who we're targeting. So especially when you have more and more ad set, and also you have more than one campaign, it's a good practice to actually name your ad set who you're targeting. So we might actually change it later.
So that might say single parent or something like that if that's who you're targeting. Just to make it easy.
Exactly. Okay. So remember I talked about campaign budget optimization. So that basically just means whenever you're here, and we're running the ad, you're setting a budget, and automatically it's going to attribute the budget equally in each ad set. So we're going to check that. And that's where you pick your daily budget. So I get this question often, what is a good place to start at? And that's when you have to look at your data and you have to understand how much am I ready to spend on a lead, especially if you've advertised in the past and you potentially have some data about how much it costs you per lead, or potentially you've done, I don't know, Google ads in the past, and you know that, okay, well, to get a lead on Google ad, it costed me, I don't know, I'll say $40. Well, you know that I need to be spending $40 to acquire a lead, and Facebook's probably going to be cheaper, but let's say $30 to get a lead. Well, if you have a budget of $20 a day, like you're not going to get a lead every day. So that's kind of how you want to go, right? Start with how many leads you want. How much do you think is going to cost you to get a lead, or how much are you ready to spend to acquire a lead? And then from there, you can say, okay, well, I want, I don't know, 1 or 2 leads a day, and then you can adjust your budget accordingly. $40 per lead, that's honestly really expensive. Usually we're able to get them down. That's depending on the industry, $3 to $6 the lead. That's for a service-based business. So yeah, honestly, $20 to start, especially if it's your first time, it's probably a good place to start. If not, even 15 is okay.
Okay.
Okay. So that's where you see the importance of having a Facebook pixel. Obviously, this is a demo account, so I don't have one. But that's where you would put, your Facebook pixel, and it would probably be a lead Facebook pixel. But again, it's not like I don't have a conversion set up on my website. Now here, there's something called dynamic creative. That's something we're not going to be covering because it's a little bit more advanced, but it is something that I love and I use all the time, depending on the campaign goal. And basically what this is we talked a little bit about Facebook collecting information from the users, but it also collects things like, what is your favorite color? On what ad do you usually click? Like the ads I usually click, what color are they? What is the CTA button? Is it learn more? Is it get a quote? So again, they collect all this information.
I'm going to back you up there. What's a CTA button? Just so everyone knows. When you say CTA button.
Yes, a call to action. So a CTA button could be learn more, book now, get quote. So those are usually, whenever you go to a website and it says, book now, contact sales or whatever, those are all CTA buttons. So again, Facebook collects that information. They collect what kind of headlines or description that you usually like even on posts, right? Because they do sentiment analysis and they can understand what are the feelings going behind like a post. So they can understand all that, and they can understand to what kind of sentiment and image you usually react better to. So if you check that on, it's going to let you upload multiple image or videos, multiple headlines, multiple CTA, and then it's going to serve the best version that Facebook think that the user would convert for. So it's pretty cool. That's something we use all the time. Offer, that's fine. So here, that's when you do all the cool things. So that's the, in the ad set, we're still in the ad set, and that's where you'll go ahead and create your audience. And that's when you can create custom audience. So we talk about custom audience. And just to give you some examples, you can say, okay, well, show me anyone or target anyone that has visited a specific, like all the users that have visited a specific page on my website. You can upload customer lists. You can do so many different things. Let's say you posted a video on, and that's something that I talked in the article how to generate leads with Facebook ad. The whole strategy was you create a video and you can actually go here and target anyone that have watched, let's say, more than 50% of your video. And that could be your audience. So it's really cool what you can do. It's all about being creative. So for this one, I'm going to assume you don't have any videos, don't have an email list or any sort of things like that. And you're just getting started. So we're going to do this manually. And basically, we're just looking here. So buyer persona 25, 37, right? That's what we came up with. Oh, got that. Here you go. Okay, 27. Gender, we're going to say men. And then we can also, so we can do that, and then we can also come here, and then we can say, go back here, let's say he is a dad. So browse, sorry, here you go, behaviors. And then we can look at literally everything here.
Wow.
And you can expand. You can even say like, okay, friends of soccer fans. You can literally everything you can target. So here's our parents, all parents, and then we can say right here. Right, I'm just gonna check them, but then you check the ones you want.
Sure.
And then you just keep going. Yeah, you just keep going. That's where again you can set the language. So let's say you only speak English. Well, you can target specific people that only speak English. Sorry, and then you can do so much things. You can do that, and you can say, okay, well, show the audience to that, but narrow it down to only show people. I don't know. Don't show this to people that are away from family. Let's say. I don't know. So you can really, again, get creative and come up with some really great things. In terms of placement, you can click automatic or manual. If you're just getting started, and again, you don't know how to use the Facebook Ads Manager and you don't know how to use the breakdown feature of Facebook Ads Manager, what I recommend you to do is uncheck this. Now just go here and then just keep news feed and Instagram feed activated. The other ones, you can uncheck them all. Okay. And potentially you want to keep stories on to test it out. But honestly, if you're just getting started, Facebook newsfeed and Instagram newsfeed, it's a really great place to start. And then as you're getting potentially more comfortable with Facebook ads, then you can go ahead and start advertising, on, let's say, the video feed, the marketplace, and these sort of placements.
Sure. Experiment a little bit later once you get a good feel for it.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Yep. Small steps as you're getting used to it.
Exactly. That's good for that. Then, that's our ad set. If ever you're not sure where you are in the process, campaign, ad set, ad, click next. That's where I'm just going to pick my page. There you go. That's where you pick your Facebook page, your Instagram account. Okay. Make sure they're connected. How you connect them, it's actually in your Facebook page settings. And okay. I'm going to click the preview on. Okay. Now you can pick single image or video or carousel or collection. Okay. For this example, I actually created a quick ad. Let me just get that. That's a copy. There you go. So primary text. I'd probably just add some space. Right. And then here we go. Our headline. Pretty simple. And then that's basically it. And then that's where I would put the URL of the website, right? So you can put the URL here, and then here, that's where you have your, we talked about that, the CTA, the call to action, and that's there. You have a lot of different options. First, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing the strategy, which is at the end of the day, if you look at the text, it's a director offer. And actually, I didn't update the image. That's the image that I got for this. And it's honestly that easy. So you just upload your image there.
Wow. Yep.
Sometimes it can take, there you go. So with the video, it takes a little bit longer, and then just done.
Wow.
And then it's going to show you. It's going to show you your preview. That easy. And then you can just go down here. Yeah. Your CTA. And that's basically it. And then if I click publish, it's going to get into the review phase. And then it's going to be live. One thing that it might say, especially with what happened with the election and everything, it might say something like add error. And the reason for that is because Facebook has put a bunch of different sort of policies in place just to make sure that your ad is not talking about election or politics or talking about COVID or anything like that. Sometimes the AI will pick up a keyword that they think is related with that, so they'll actually say, "Hey, your ad can't run." Then you're just gonna have to click like request review manually. Honestly, if that happens to you, that's fine. It actually happened to us again this morning, which is not your fault. It's just the AI of Facebook is imperfect.
Sure. So when you say click manual review, does that mean it sends it to someone at Facebook and they then take a look at it to make sure that it's within the framework of the policy?
Exactly. That's when a human actually comes in and takes a look at the whole process. One more thing,
does it indicate
I just
to you
wanted
at all what's well, I'm just curious if on the warning, does it indicate to you what words are the problematic at all, or is it just you don't know and you have to send it off?
Yeah, so it's going to say something like this, like here. So here is giving me, it's saying, okay, well, so it's the website. Like I don't have a website URL, so I'm like, oh yeah, true, I forgot to add my URL. Here it is. And then it's going to be highlighted in red. And if let's say it's a text, it's going to say, oh, the text is, and it's going to highlight it in red. So Terrific. It's going to give you some information. Go ahead.
You could change it then if you wanted to. If instead of sending it off, like I want to get this out now, you could, in theory. Okay. You could 100%. Take out whatever it's offending. Perfect.
Oh, well, depending on what it is. Sometimes it's going to pick it up right away, like an error like this. But sometimes you just click publish and it's in review. And then it's going to pick up something. And then it's going to say, hey, sorry, but your ad has an error. And then you're going to be, oh, crap, like, I don't know. And then you're going to go in and then it's going to be, oh, I see. Potentially I said that it's wrong with it. And again, Google is your best friend. If ever you have any questions regarding, oh, well, what is this policy number, right? Just Google that and it's going to tell you, oh, well, that's because you said that in your ad. And then, you'll find your information that way. But one more thing I just wanted to quickly cover, and it's actually how to spy on your competitors' ads. So again, because of the election, Facebook came down with a tool that allows you to see what other advertisers are doing on the platform. Yeah. Facebook.
That's interesting.
It's called Facebook Ads Library. And then we have it here. And then the way this works is you can either search with, a name, a company name, or with their page ID. So I'm just going to take this one here, all ads. There you go. That's actually one of our clients. So you can see here that we can see exactly what ad they're running, before and after. And then you can see like the description, everything. So let's say, you know who your competitors are. And if they're running ads, you can just go in here and you can see exactly what ads they're running. Don't copy it. There's no use to that. But you can take a look at it, seeing if it's been running since like October or something like that. Like we pause our ad often, but let's say you see an ad that has been running since June and it's still running. Well, potentially the concept or the idea behind the ad is working, because if not, they would have probably paused it. So that's when you can kind of get some data and see what other companies and what your competitors are doing on the ad platform, and see what works and what doesn't.
That makes sense. It's a great way to get some ideas to start. Anyway, if you're, how do I write an ad, or what are the kind of things I could say? At least gives you some idea. Again, don't copy. You don't want to do that, but at least get some inspiration. Sure. That's not a bad idea. Clever.
Yeah, for sure. So that's what I had planned for this presentation. For anyone that is watching this, I am offering a free Facebook ad strategy session. And basically what this is honestly just an open conversation where we can look at what you're doing and have literally this sort of conversation, what strategy you should be doing, where should your placement be, and how everything works together. And really my goal of that conversation is honestly just to give value. If ever you want to continue doing Facebook ads and try it by yourself, that's totally fine. The way, I guess, how I get value out of that is because Facebook ads, especially as you scale, gets really, really time consuming. Especially when you're spending a lot every day. I'm talking about potentially hundreds or thousands a day. You need to be constantly running new ads and adding more to your campaign. So that's where potentially I would get value in the future, hoping that you decide to hire a firm in the future. But for right now, my goal is honestly just providing as much value and having anyone being able to do that by themselves, or.
Awesome. That's terrific. Again, more free content for everybody. A good thing y'all came, because now
Exactly.
you can get more out of Cedric even further. So Cedric, thank you very much for taking us through that and showing us, you know, behind the curtain of Facebook ads, how to get started, the steps to go through, the language, how it all sort of fits together, so people can then run out there and start it. It looks pretty easy. Again, it can get, I guess, fairly complex, as you say, as you
Mm.
scale up. But at least getting started, it's not that hard. And again, one thing that sort of struck me is you're going to spend, what is it, $500 on some flyer campaign and send some flyers
I
through a whole neighborhood.
know.
What a colossal waste of money anymore, right? So the old way of advertising is just gone. There's just no value in that. You might get one lead from that. My wife did
Mm.
that once for her business, and it was nothing. It was just nothing. It was a whole bunch of money flushed down the toilet, whereas these Facebook ads would have been so much more value. Even if she'd only spent like $5 a day, I'm sure she would have done better. So thank you, Cedric. I appreciate it. So again, everyone, Cedric Potvin from Vertex Marketing Agency. Again, you can reach him. There's his email address. And again, we'll make sure that's all posted for you as well, and you can find it. And again, the follow-up will be in the email when we send you the recording, so you can also get more links from there. Cedric, again, as he said, will pay attention. He's and stay tuned, or follow him on LinkedIn, and check out his SaaS podcast, and just keep in touch with this guy on LinkedIn as well. Follow him there, and just make sure you're getting all the information out of him you can. Again, Vertex Marketing has got a great blog with more tips, lots of great information, lots of great content from Cedric. Thank you very much again for being here, Cedric, and taking all the VanillaSoft's insurance agents and those maybe not VanillaSoft customers yet through how they can increase their
Mm.
sales through Facebook advertising.
Yeah, no, thanks again for having me on the show. And again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Just send me a message on LinkedIn. Like, I respond to everyone, and don't feel bad. Oh, I'm not a client of his. Like, I don't care. Like, I know something that you don't, so I don't mind. Ask me your questions.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you again next time.
Take care.